My muffin.
Greetings, I'm Rob Chappers.
I'm the captain.
Oh, we're in Guildford still in our awesome new little room in this beautiful little secret house somewhere located in Guildford.
And to end what has been a fantastic 2 days of riffage with my friend Rob Chapman here, we're ending with a funky little product here, a little guitar amplifier from the clever people at Suhr. Yeah, collaboration with IKEA. Which is the Corser, which, if you live in the UK, that may remind you of a dodgy old Vauxhall car.
Yeah, I must admit, I wondered where they got the name from. Because
well, actually, Corso, this is rather than Corser. But of course, if you're from America and that hasn't been used to name a fairly inexpensive car, it's been used to name this little valve box of joy. It's a 5-watt. 5-watt guitar amplifier.
Really?
Loud 5 watts, yeah.
Wow.
It's a 5-watt guitar amplifier with some kind of cool features. It's pretty straightforward. So you've got drive, treble, bass, some micro switches here, or some small switches.
5 little micro switches, yeah.
Bright, mid, gain, presence, and deep. I'll explain what they do in a minute. A power control, which is a sort of an attenuator. Suhr do this in a lot of their amps, so you know, you're sort of driving the output section all the time and then just adjusting how much volume comes out. And a line output, which is post power amp section. So it's a line output, if you like, with a where you can run it with a dummy load on the amplifier.
Which is why we've got this.
Yes, because weirdly, sort of weirdly, I suppose, you could say flexibly, it's not speaker emulated, the output from the Corso. So you have to use a third
Your
party
favourite speaker emulator.
Yeah. So we've used the Torpedo Cab on a Vintage 30 speaker setting, and it sounds great. And we're also using a full-tone plimsoll drive pedal in the front.
Which is the perfect marriage for this amplifier.
Yes.
Yeah, it works really nicely.
So if you hear the cabinet, it's a Suhr 1x12, which is their Vet 30 loaded 112. So I guess if Rob plays, I will just... Do you want to just do that?
I will play. Excuse the foot that's swollen and sore. And here comes the Suhr Corso.
Can I just quickly add as well, we did say to Rabir, there's no reverb in the amplifier here, so if Rabir chooses to add a smidgen of reverb, it will be coming from Logic rather than a pedal or anything like that. Or the room. Yeah. So, sorry Rob, do... So that was a little kind of run through of what the amp will do with no pedals. If you have a favourite drive pedal, like we have our little plimsoll drive pedal, it can go crazy. Here we go. tasty 5 watts again, isn't it? It's one of those things where...
It's a tasty 5
Well,
watts.
watts just means nothing, does it? Because you get cheap, crappy amplifiers that say 5 watts.
Well, it also depends on whether it's valve or not
watts.
Valve, because watts can mean different things.
Even that, I think the speaker, I think the VET 30 is like a super efficient speaker, so you get this like crazy power. So one of the things that we will test though, a little bit kind of, never quite sure how this comes across as on YouTube, but we'll get that tone, but on like a really low volume level. And because of the way the volume works on this, it should sound super fat, but super quiet at the same time. And we'll just have to sort of tell you.
Kind of how I was at school, really.
Super fat and super quiet.
Yeah. What's that then?
Well, nothing. All I did was I basically just turned the volume right down, but then sort of retweaked it. So I felt it just sort of needed a bit more brightness and a bit more depth, just to sort of, because it had changed tonally by dropping the volume. But that's like spoken word volume. You know, I mean, that is proper home use volume. So what I'm going to do is just turn it back up again. Well, in fact, yeah, turn it back up a little bit, get a sound that we like, but then what you'll hear, so in edit, they'll just change the output that we're using on the interface. You're going to hear this through the through the output and through the Torpedo emulator at the same time.
Wow.
So we won't know if it sounds any good. I'm just going to get the best sound that I can in the room, and then hopefully that will sound good through the line out as well. So here we go. I would like to try this to see what it sounds like with my Stratocaster. You always give me the wonky ends that never really work.
Oh, I'm sorry, man. I prefer that end.
Oh, goodness me.
I like a nice bent end.
So let's see what happens. I've turned the drive pedal off. Is that a bit too piercing?
No.
It's hard playing without reverb sometimes, isn't it?
Well, it is, because everything you play is in your face.
Yes.
There's nothing forgiving about it.
I know.
But luckily it's a beautiful...
Let's try it with a bit of ganache.
There's something going on in the tone that almost sounds like it's got a kind of the slightest of envelope filters. when you play. That's very pleasant.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? I mean, I sometimes wonder that is a sort of a stratty kind of thing. You can get those sort of those sort of position 2 and 4 tones where you get that slight.
No, this is something else.
Is it?
But it's really pleasant.
I know what I forgot to mention. One of the unusual things in the spec is the power section on this uses valves that you would traditionally expect to find more in a preamp section of a guitar amp. Sorry. So although they're 12 BH7s or something like that, so that they are the smaller the smaller valves. But I've seen it done before in other low wattage amplifiers, and there's no doubting it absolutely sounds phenomenal.
So good points. It's 5 watts, which is practical for home use. Sounds wicked, and I'm going to say you could gig with it if you mic up.
It's It's a small gigging 5 watt amplifier.
Yes.
Absolutement.
Negative points. This is a personal thing. This isn't anything to do with the design. But personally, I don't like the look at all. I think it looks. I think if they'd just taken this kind of black snowflake concept and just left it black, would have been 100% better than the IKEA top and the odd handle. But that's a personal thing. Yeah. It doesn't take away from the great sound.
It's funny, isn't it? Because I'm sort of...
it's an IKEA radio.
Half of me... See, I kind of remember when my parents came home, like, you know, back in the sort of late 1970s. And
from IKEA?
Well, no, that's before it existed, I think. And they, you know, and they'd sort of... This would be like the most fashionable kind of sideboard that you could possibly have had at the time. And then it sort of obviously becomes a bit unfashionable, as all 70s things did. And then, of course, sort of more recently, you're going, is it actually unbelievably cool now? Because it's sort of this sort of 70s retro vibe. No. But, well, I quite like it. And I certainly, I mean, I think it's a funky looking thing. I don't know, this sort of reminds me of some sort of, particularly with the antenna sticking out, reminds me of like someone's sort of hairdo with some sort of bizarre sort of clip in the top.
Yeah, I just would have preferred it in a wooden sleeve, traditional, or just without it. But whatever, it doesn't matter. Whatever. It's one of them. I'm going to say what I'm feeling, man.
I'm going to tell you something that you won't like about it. The price.
Oh. How much is it?
Well, it's, you know, because Suhr only deal in the premium end.
Won't tell price. Give story.
Well, it's. I know, I'm not defending it. I mean, they just deal in the premium end. This is not for guys.
It's a 5 watt. It's a 5 watt microhead. How much is it?
£869. Did you think I was going to say more or less?
I thought you were going to say less.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, there are some great competitors out there with some other little tiny heads coming to market. So I mean, but you know, it's a Suhr amp. It sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
And it's practical.
That's the thing. You could absolutely say Blackstar HT5. They do a little amplifier that's
great
5 watts. It's got a speaker emulated output.
It's very good.
It's valve.
How much is that then? HT5?
Oh, mate, a third of the price of this, or something, or a lot less anyway.
But then this is made in America, yeah.
Yeah, but I still think if you know, this is got some power there that you don't get out of the cheap.
No, I completely agree with you. But then the Blackstar HT5 is a...
But it's a lot less money, yeah.
So it's a Far Eastern made circuit board kind of concept.
Anyway, look, and to be honest with you, one of the products that we obviously has been used all through this demo that we've not really talked about, but perhaps we'll do a demo another time, is the Torpedo Cab by 2 Notes, which is, as I said, which is taking the unemulated output from the amplifier and giving you hopefully what sounded like a really lush and authentic.
Yeah, I know Beer's been using the 2 Notes at home a lot for recording and found it really, really good. Well, in summation, you know what we haven't done the entire time you've been here?
We're not doing marks out of 10.
We haven't done marks out of 10. I'm going to do marks out of 10.
I'm just waiting for something to go wrong. I'm waiting basically for one of the cameras to crash.
Nothing's going to go wrong.
To shout that the interface is there to be a power cut, or maybe like a meteorite fall out the sky and blow us, because nothing's gone wrong in this video so far.
So you just spoke way too soon.
To be honest with you, that's a first.
The interface is dead, guys. There's no sound coming at all.
Oh my god! That's the weirdest thing ever.
I'm just taking the piss.
Can you tell from my face?
Great.
I f***ing knew. I totally got suckered.
Marks out of 10, I'm going to get 7.5.
7.5.
Yeah,
well, man. I'm going to give it. This is my kind of amp. I would happily own something like that. So I'm going to give it 8 1/4.
8 1/4.
Yeah, we're going quarter.
First ever quarter mark. Well, I think that's good.
Do you know what I'm going to give 9.9 out of 10 for, and that's the cabinet. Every Suhr cabinet that we've tried is spectacular.
They're
stupidly expensive, but they just.
I'd want to A/B it against the Victory and see which one I prefer.
Oh man, I've never heard a 112 as small as that sound as unbelievably fat and loud and amazing as that.
The little ones do talk most, don't they? That's what they say. I've been Rob Chapman.
And I've been the captain.
We bid you
Have a plectrum. It was a rubbish throw.